Yo, welcome to another episode of Broken Plays. We got Hatham back. He's off IR. He's in the flesh. He's in the flesh. He came for round two because he didn't like
Yeah,
what he was
Halburn.
seeing.
Halburn in the building.
Yeah, so he had to come talk his shit. We'll jump right into it because there's a lot to talk about. We made playoff predictions last time. Are we still feeling like those playoff predictions are going to happen? So, Jaylon, you were there last episode. Hatham, you weren't. Jaylon, could you just tell us your four picks?
Well, I
Who you
said
had, who's
Boston in
not?
five. I
Pardon?
said Boston in five, so that's
Yeah,
super awkward. But it's going to be Boston in six. I said the T Wolves in six, I believe, if I'm not
yeah.
mistaken. I also said Denver in seven.
Yes, you did.
And I believe I said Pacers in seven, too, if I'm not mistaken.
You said
But
something about not trusting the Cavs. I can't remember, but I know
yeah,
you were adamant on not trusting the Cavs.
but I could be wrong. If I know Steve can roll the tape, so I can be corrected. But I'm pretty sure I picked the Pacers because I
Yeah,
don't
okay.
trust Donovan
So
Mitchell. For me, I think it's going to be a 7-game series, like legitimately. And I think the Cavs will still edge it. But if Darius Garland doesn't come back right now, I believe he's questionable for game two. If Darius Garland doesn't come back sooner rather than later, they might be looking at a 2-0 hole that they got to climb out of, and it's gonna be scary hours in Cleveland, man.
Hatem, you weren't here last week. We need you to give us your quick who's winning in how many games, and then we'll break down where the series are at right now. We just want to get an idea of where you were at.
I had a feeling that the Boston series was going to go seven or six even prior to the playoffs. I said they would have the harder route, and then I thought Cavs would be better, but I think they've been dealt with a lot of injuries. I think Garland missing he missed the first two games,
Mm-hmm.
and then Mobley as well missed game two. So injuries have had a factor to play, but they're not performing well. And then who else? The Wolves. I didn't know Steph Curry was going to go down. So I'm not going to lie to you. I think that changes the whole series. I think Golden State would be up right now. Is it 3-1 or is it 2-1? 2-1?
2-1.
2-1? I think they would have got last game if they had Steph Curry. So I think they would have been up 2-1. And then the OKC series is looking kind of bad right now. But I thought OKC was going to win in six.
What do you
I
mean
think,
bad?
yeah, I was just about to ask that.
I think OKC is getting shown that they can't perform well, like they can't shoot well. Denver's going into a zone, and OKC, I think they had 8 or 9 threes,
Mm-hmm.
and 6 of them came from their bench.
Mm-hmm.
So that just goes to good, like
Russo had 3 of them.
and Wallace had like 3 of them. So I
Yeah,
think
sorry.
like if I'm playing zone against you and I have a chance, then there's something wrong, you know?
All right, so let's break down the series where they're at right now. We'll start with the Cavs and Indiana Pacers. The Pacers take a commanding 3-1 series lead. I didn't think we would be at this point right now. I think you brought up some good points, Atham. The injuries to Cleveland are showing, and like it's not compared to the Nuggets series. I don't. It's not a question of experience versus youth. It's like literally like the Pacers are just hanging in there. I think Jalen said something last night. He's like, the Pacers are just that team that stick with you. They're just that team that stick with you. So while I'm surprised the way the Pacers are playing some mighty fine basketball. Atham, what are you seeing in the series that makes you think that Cleveland might be done, or makes you think that Cleveland could come back?
I just want to first say my apologies to the coach for the Pacers. I called for his head at the beginning of the season when they were 10 and 15.
I'm crying. He did a retraction. I'm dead.
I can say when I'm wrong. He's doing a good job. What's his name?
Rick Carlisle.
That's the guy. He's killing it out there. I think the Cavs, there's just too many injuries. And also, like, have you guys seen Jared Allen? I'm still looking for that nigga.
I forgot he was even playing better.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
Is it
facts.
like he's getting paid 25 mil? Like, do I have to go on a milk card to go find him? Like, you get what I'm saying? Do I have to go like missing persons, bro? But anyways, I'll leave it at that. But by the way, Turner securing the bag. Did you see those step back threes?
Yeah, fam.
Bro, man's getting paid,
Yo,
and he plays with
so
Lego.
so Jalen, Jalen, I'll let you answer this, and I'll let you answer the question, and then I have a question that just popped in my head. So the floor is yours on this one.
Yeah, I think like Hatham said, shout out to Rick Carlisle. He's been coaching his ass off. He's got them. And it seems like they do this every year where they kind of elevate their game come playoff time. Like in earlier episodes we alluded to Andrew Nemhard in past years, TJ McConnell in past years. Tyrese Halliburton, he's doing his thing with the Halliburton. But I think the Pacers the Pacers are winning the series. Obviously, big part in the fact that Evan Mobley missed a game, 1 or 2 games. I think he missed 2 games if I'm not mistaken. But Darius Garland missed games. Donovan Mitchell, just went down last night, and he's basically hooping on his own. But the Pacers are dangerous because it's not that they don't care about defense, but it really doesn't matter because their offense is so potent. Like they do the exact same thing every single time down. If they got to run a set, they run that drag shit, and it's either Miles Turner popping, the guard is turning the corner, and then their shooters can knock down shots. They also have slashers, in Obi Toppin, Pascal Siakam, guys who are adept at finishing at the rim, and they just do that for 48 minutes. And again, that's a team that really can play in any situation. Having to Whether you're up 20, you're down 20, it's a team that's built to really withstand anything, and that just comes down to the experience of Rick Carlisle being able to prepare them for this situation. And I think Kenny Atkinson is kind of struggling with that right now, even though he's a seasoned veteran in the coaching game in the NBA. That's what it comes down to right now.
You brought up the point that I wanted to ask you, and maybe like it's not on the same level because the other team he coached did have Dirk Nowitzki, but I was gonna say the experience of Rick Carlisle. Remember when they won in 2011? He took a similar Dallas team. They had Dirk. They had Dirk. They had pieces, but
They had Tyson Chandler. They had some pieces,
yeah,
but they shouldn't have won.
But do you like? Is it? Are we seeing the same kind of like Rick Carlisle taking a team with pieces and like I know it's not the same thing. They haven't made it to the finals, but to like dismantle the Cavs so far like this, are we seeing Rick Carlisle do it again?
I think it's more so because I think we have to put a lot of stock in the fact that the Cavs aren't fully healthy. Like at the end of the day, Darius Garland missing 2 or 3 games or whatever he missed. 3 games, right? Because he wasn't there for game 3. So Darius Garland missing 3 games. Defensive player of the year, Evan Mobley missing 2 games. It's very hard. Donovan Mitchell then hooping out there by himself. He had 48 in game 2, right? So I think
He's averaging 42.
Huh?
Averaging 40 on the series.
There we go, right? So I think we have to put a lot of stock in that, but also the fact that they're so, it seems that they have, honestly, maybe they might have the best depth in the NBA. Like they got guys that can come off the bench and do the exact same thing that their starting lineup can do. Andrew said it last night. They don't have a guy that's averaging 30. They have a bunch of guys that average 15 to 18, right? And that's kind of relentless in that aspect.
McConnell's really good off the bench.
Right? And the number one thing is they run you to death. They just run you to death. So having to keep up with that pace, teams always struggle in the playoffs because usually it's a slower pace, but the Pacers seem to do that very well.
I want to shout out though the front office, bro. They've done a really good job because they haven't built this team through the draft. Like they've made good trades. It wasn't first round picks. They traded Paul George. They got Victor Oladipo. They got Sabonis. Then they traded Sabonis, and then they got Halliburton, and then they traded for Pascal. Right? Even
No
though
tanking.
Jayla doesn't want to give the respect to Pascal for whatever reason. You're a Pascal hater. Just say it as it is, bro.
No, you are.
I'm not denying that, but you didn't need to say that.
No, because the whole time you did say Pascal once. You said everybody else's name, and I was just sitting in the back, yo.
You gotta give
that's
Pascal his love though. Like you are right, Ethan, because like the one thing that I will give Jalen, as much as he hated Pascal Siakam, he did say, "I just don't like Pascal Siakam as a number one option." That was one of his biggest arguments.
Woo.
You
Very true.
did say, yeah, Jalen. I'll give you daps on that. You did say that was one of your biggest problems with Pascal Siakam. Now he's on a team where he can be the second option, sometimes even the third option, and he's just hooping.
And he's not relied on. My biggest thing is that he's not relied on night in, night out. Like he doesn't have to perform every single night because I don't think that's who he is, and that's what Raptors fans were kind of pushing in our face that he's that kind of guy, and he's just not.
We were never pushing that. What do you mean? They were never pushing that.
First of all, you said we like you're a Raptors fan.
Bro,
let's deal with that.
Were you born in Canada?
I absolutely was not.
That's the problem, bro. That's the problem, bro. But Pascal, he had like 21 last game. That doesn't really matter because it was a blowout. He led their team. I don't know what he did the other game. He's basically, I think he's one beat to Halliburton, but that's just my opinion.
But like I said, this is a team that's like they have a bunch of guys that average 15 to 18 in the come playoff time, right? Like they're getting scoring from everywhere. Andrew Nemhard went off a couple games. T.J. McConnell led their team in scoring a couple games. Miles Turner, you know what I'm saying? So like they spread
Benedict
their scoring out
Mathurin,
evenly, right?
yeah.
So I think it's the perfect situation. Just to touch on your point again, Hatham, of building through trades and actually like having to build a team. I think Philadelphia should take notes because they've been tanking and we've been trusting the process for how long? And what has the process gotten us?
Well, to be fair, they didn't think Ben Simmons would have a mental breakdown.
But it's their process. That ain't my problem, gang.
So let's move on to the other East series. Hatham, I'm gonna give you this one first, just because I want to see if you tick off Sir Jalon over here. So what do you make of the Knicks versus the Celtics?
Yeah. What's with your boy, Jalen? You know what I'm talking about, right?
Hey, listen, the floor is yours. I'm not going to interrupt. You go ahead, brother.
Okay, so first I have a problem with the coach. Coach Missoula was the reason. I brought the first one up. I think Coach Missoula, do you think he just kind of just talks to the media the way he wants to talk? Like he doesn't really care what he's saying? No? Are you not going to, like what did he just say recently? Didn't he say we have to get in a dark place or something?
Brother, the floor is yours. I got my own shit to say. This is all you, gang. I can't speak on it.
I think they shoot way too many threes. I think the fact that they don't play Mitchell anymore because they're doing the hack of Mitchell. They're trying to get Mitchell the free throw line all the time. I think they need to just start driving the ball. Jaylen Brown just said he's the best driver in the league. I forgot that Giannis was in the league, but anyways, or anyone else. But anyways, I digress. He's the best one in the league. He said it himself. So I expect him today to just not shoot any threes, drive to the basket. I expect JT. Oh, I saw this nice snippet the other day today, actually. They said that JT is a PG with better role players. And I was like, facts. Isn't he like PG? Like, you know when PG was on the Pacers, but like he has a better cast of role. Even Quabs is just glitched out, bro, because he's like, yo, I'm flabbergasted by this comment. But yeah, I think whoever wins this game wins the series is essentially what the point is right now. I think the Knicks really need this game, but whoever wins this game wins the series. I give the floor to you, Sir Jalen Williams, Boston native.
Boston native is crazy. I've had a lot of problems with the way the Celtics have played, and I think it started game 4 of the NBA playoffs when they played against the Orlando
series?
Magic.
Oh, yeah, okay, my bad. Yeah.
My problem is that they're living and dying by this 3, and it's very analytics driven. So when I break it down, in the first 2 games, they shot 100 threes. That is insanity. 100 threes, and they made 25 of them. They were shooting 25% through the first 2 games. The reason they won game 3 was because Peyton Pritchard came off the bench and had 24 or 26 or whatever the hell he had. They also shot the lights out from 3. Now, if that's the only way you're going to win games, it is going to be very tough to be successful in the playoffs. They may come back and win this series. Cool. But you can't do that against the Indiana Pacers because they can go band for band with you. The Indiana Pacers just put up 149 last night against Cleveland. You
tell them again. Yeah, tell them again.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it's a little bit of stubbornness. That's the first issue I have. The second issue I have also comes down to coaching. Joe Mazzulla, at what point are you going to tell your guys to get to the rim? There were in game 1 and game 2, they had stretches in which 6+ minutes they didn't hit a single shot. In that 6 minutes, 87% of the shots they took were threes. How does that make sense? The other side of that is that you're also subbing guys in and out. And people that have missed 3 straight shots, 4 straight shots, 3 straight shots, 2 straight shots. Now this guy's subbing in and he's like, well, I got to go get mine. And what's he doing? Shooting threes. So at some point he's going to have to start coaching. He's going to have to draw up some sets because it really doesn't look like they're running an offense. They're really just running a couple ball screens to get a switch and then attack a mismatch. When they attack the mismatch, the isolation always ends up in a step back 3. The last thing I will say on this point is Jason Tatum. Jason Tatum's kind of fighting for his legacy right now. If we don't see more from Jason Tatum, and again,
what's his legacy?
Sorry?
What's his legacy? Can you define his legacy right now?
Well, I don't really
Just
think
for
he
the
has a
viewers.
legacy right now, but I think this is
Oh,
going to
okay.
define what his legacy will be when he finishes his career. Because right
Okay.
now, the narrative around him is that he's, like you said, the Paul George. He's not the one guy. He's a complementary piece. He's just a two masquerading as a one. That's what the narrative is based
And
on
who's the
what the
one?
media. Huh?
Who's the one? Who's the one?
Well, Jalen Brown.
Okay. I just wanted to clarify. Just
Yeah.
clarifications, just key
Don't
to
worry,
everything.
brother. I got you.
Okay.
So I think this series is legacy defining for him, and the reason I say that is because we have Luka Doncic, we have Anthony Edwards, we have Giannis Antetokounmpo, even Jalen
Wimby.
Brown, we have Devin Booker. We have all these guys who are theoretically, Devin Booker's an anomaly more so because he has Kevin Durant on his team. But we have guys who are actual ones who, when the fourth quarter comes down to it, they take over. If we look at game one and game two, Jalen Brunson, when he subbed back into the game with 7:42, I believe it was, left in the fourth quarter, he had the ball in his hands every single possession. He scored or assisted on 17 straight New York points in game two. Why isn't Jason Tatum doing that? Do you know through games one and game two, Jason Tatum was 1 for 11 in the fourth quarter? He had 6 total points. You want to know what that one field goal was? When they were down one, they drew up that low play where he got that dunk when he drove past Mitchell Robinson. That was his one field goal. Of those 11 field goals, 8 attempts were from 3. Brother in Christ, please get to the rim. At what point is he going to assert his dominance? When he gets inside the paint, inside the 3, he's a different player. The mechanics of his jump shot don't even allow for him to be taking step back threes and getting an open look from it. He needs to get to the paint. He needs to operate in the mid post, but that's also on coaching. Draw a play up to get Jalen Brown a post up. Draw a play up to get Jason Tatum a post up, or to get either of them going downhill. Al Horford should not be taking the same amount of shot attempts as you, respectfully. No disrespect to Al Horford, he's had a great career, but he should not be taking the same amount of shots as Jason Tatum and Jalen Brown in fourth quarters. The dudes you're paying $300 million for. That's all I'll say.
Can I ask a follow-up question? Do you
Sure.
think that
Go ahead.
do you think that the fact that Porzingis has an illness that's undiagnosed is affecting their game plan? Because he only played 13 minutes, 19 minutes, 14 minutes this series. So do you think that their game plan going in was, yes, we can shoot threes with the best of them, but we can also rim protect. We have a rim protecting big,
But you have
and
a
we
rim
can
protecting
give up.
big either way with Al Horford.
But it's not the same as Porzingis, like a 7-3 rim protecting big that can stretch the floor a little bit better than Al Horford. You know what I mean?
Completely understand. But if I look at it, they gave up 108 points in game one, 91 points in game two, 93 points in game three. The defense isn't a problem. Like, it doesn't come down to rim protection, in my opinion. I don't think the defense is the issue. I think the issue is all on the offensive end. Shooting 100 threes in 2 games and shooting 25% makes no sense to me. That's stubbornness. And yes, Kristaps Porzingis can stretch the floor, but
And he can also get in the paint. Like, he's a better paint.
correct. But my problem isn't with Kristaps Porzingis. My problem is, how are you not drawing up plays for your best players, or getting your best players in positions to be where they are most effective? And that's what I think it stems. Yeah. Kristaps, not playing a lot of minutes obviously does contribute to it, but I think the biggest contributor is the fact that they are shooting too many threes.
So when we move to the West, let's go with the series that's not tied at 2. Let's talk about the Minnesota Timberwolves and the Golden State Warriors. Curry is out till at least game 6. Minnesota has a 2-1 lead. Golden State was able to steal game 1. Curry had 13, and then the team just played really well. The games have been close without Curry, to the point that you made at the top of the show, Hatham. If Curry was there, I do think they take the last game where they lost by 5 or something like that. Is it over for the Golden State Warriors, or if they steal one, Curry comes back, Golden State can be heading to the Western Conference Finals? Jalen.
I think Minnesota, this is me personally, I think Minnesota were going to win this series regardless. But I think that obviously Steph Curry going down, changes the entire dynamic. I think if I'm Minnesota, I have to get up. I have to go up 3-1. I don't have a choice. I can't drop a game. I have to be perfect, and I have to close this series out as soon as possible. Now, it's reported the earliest Steph can come back, they're hoping for game 5. The earliest on paper is game 6. But So if Steph does come back for Game 6 and it's 3-2 Minnesota or 3-2 Golden State, I think Minnesota will be in trouble. Steph adds a different dynamic, obviously, to Golden State, but I think that Game 3 was won and lost from the 3-point line. They went on a nice little stretch in which they were hitting everything at Golden State, and then they went ice cold in the fourth quarter, which was to their detriment. Anthony Edwards also went nuclear, but I think that for Minnesota, the main thing that I'm taking away from this series so far is that they got to go out and they got to kill in Game 4 and they got to kill in Game 5. They don't have a choice. They can't be complacent.
Hatham?
My only comment is Draymond Green just needs to be playing the game. I think they would have won the game if Draymond had just stayed in the game. I think he's drawing the line too much now this series where he has two more technicals and he's suspended.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's one of those things where he still needs to play his style of basketball, but they need him in order to be effective while they wait for Steph Curry to come back. I think like an 80% Steph Curry, and like let's say they win this game and they get an 80% Steph Curry. Do you think they have a chance of winning the series?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
80% Steph Curry probably give you 15-20, which is more than enough.
Yeah. And it's less touches for Buddy Hield to like dribble a little bit. Buddy Hield's been going off, but I think he's doing a little too much. I think he just needs to play within himself. But I do think they have a chance. They need to win today. That's for sure.
Oh, yeah, 100%. And finally, we will talk about the series that everyone's watching because it could go either way. Denver versus OKC. It's 2-2. Hatham, what are you making of the series? The series has had everything.
What I'm making out of the series is that OKC needs like a shooting guard. They need someone that can shoot the ball. They're just missing that. I think Lou Dort is good on defense, but he shoots a little too many threes. I find that they don't have any consistent 3-point shooter where it's like Shea's gonna cut to the basket and is he gonna knock it down. I think they need to go after. Ideally, if they could get Booker on that team, that'd be nice. You know what I mean? I think Joker's reaching he's exhausted. They keep throwing bigs at him. Each time a big comes up, what's his name? Hardenstein? Hardenstein goes in there. He's just banging with him in the post. And then after that, it goes Chet as well as there. They're just doing their thing in the post. And then they bring J-Dub, the other J-Dub, right? And he's just banging in the post with him. So he's just like, yo, bro. And then it's like Hardenstein will be trying to front him and stuff, but then Chet's right behind him to the shot block. So it's like very difficult where it's like, and on top of it, Michael Porter, this is the first time I've ever seen it. Man can't raise his hand above his shoulders, but he still can shoot threes.
He's shooting more. That's wild.
I think what's his name needs to show up. Jamal needs to show up. He needs to give it like a 40 piece. They really need the next game, but we'll see what happens. But it's been a good series. What do you think, J-Lo? He just shoots threes.
I agree with everything Hatham said. Jokic is clearly exhausted, but I think he's also a little bit frustrated because it doesn't seem that there's much. I don't say there's not much coaching going on, but he's having to do a lot more, and that's kind of on the front office. But
whoa! Don't blame the front office. They left too. It's the owner. Yeah, they both got fired together.
Fair enough, gang. I forgot Calvin Booth is gone too. My fault. But to Hatham's point, Jokic is shooting something like 17 or 16% when he's being guarded by Jalen Williams. I think that definitely helps in terms of the fact that throwing multiple bodies, but also different profiles at Jokic is the key contributor to him struggling. Michael Porter Jr. shooting more when he can't lift his left arm is hilarious. But I think they also need a little bit more from the bench. They really only go 7-8 deep, and they need to be a little bit better defensively. I think Oklahoma City, you've kind of reached your ceiling with this team. Yeah.
Can you name someone on their bench that's not Westbrook?
Yeah, Julian Strawther, Michael Porter Jr.
No, Michael Porter Jr. is a starter. Don't disrespect that guy.
Oh yeah, he does start.
Anyone else?
Russell Westbrook.
I just said not name Westbrook. Can you name anyone else?
I'm just saying them out loud, bro.
Okay, go.
Dr. Jalen Pickett, DeAndre Jordan.
Jalen Pickett. Peyton Watson.
Yeah.
Isn't he in the NFL? Isn't there a Peyton Watson in the NFL?
Maybe, but there's a Peyton Watson on the Nuggets. Oh God. Don't do that. But yeah, I think the Nuggets are struggling greatly because Jokic is underperforming, and that has to do with Oklahoma City's defense. But last thing I will say is that the Oklahoma City have kind of thrown 2 games down to coaching. I think in game 1 they threw it by doing that foul tactic, fouling down 3, and I think the biggest mistake was fouling and allowing Jokic to enter back into the game. Which one did they win? In game 3, J-Dub was nuclear almost, and they kept running shit through Shea towards the end of the game. I think that really that was their downfall in game 3. So I think that a question needs to be raised: has Mark Daniel reached the ceiling too? But we'll see.
Whoa. I have a follow-up question based off the news. I'm going to be the moderator right now. Based off the breaking news we heard today about Giannis asking out, where do you think his landing spots should be? Jalen Williams?
Boston.
But they don't. What would they offer that the Bucks would want?
Oh my God, they have so many pieces that they could offer. They also have draft picks that they could offer.
You think that's the best place, though? You think that's the best place?
No, you said where do I think they could land? If I'm thinking logically about like a team that has something to offer Milwaukee that they would want, it would be Boston.
It wouldn't be the Spurs or the Houston Rockets?
The Spurs is a great. They have picks out the ass that they can offer. Do you think you would work in Houston though? Do you think it makes sense? I think Houston's downfall is that they don't have enough shooting. So what would you give up?
No, they have the picks because they have the Suns picks because you need picks from somewhere else. But you'd also need young talent, so they have the right thing. But also, I wouldn't be surprised if Denver gets in the mix. What about if they offer Jamal Murray, Michael Porter Jr., and Eric Gordon, and then you offer 3 picks? You get what I'm saying? And then you're just like, yo, bro, we'll just have Giannis and Joker, and we'll just fill in the rest.
Yeah,
they could put YMCA ballers. You know what I mean?
That's fair. It's. Do you think they part ways with both MPJ and Jamal Murray and Aaron Gordon? I don't think they can. I don't think they'll give up all 3.
You have to, because the thing is, the Bucks don't have their picks, right? The Bucks picks are with the Hornets. No, Hornets. Oh, not Hornets. Pelicans. My bad. They're with the Pelicans. So it's just one of those things where you're just like, yo, either I get my picks back or I need the best available package. You get what I'm saying? Or maybe you could go. What? Go. No, go.
If I'm Denver, am I willing to give up all 3 of those players, especially after Aaron Gordon's playoff run here? Do you think that's something that Denver would do?
But think about it. Now you have Giannis and Joker. There's free agents that are going to be available. You can make trades. You get what I'm saying? Where you can fill the roster. Obviously, the first year won't be good, but the second year will be better. You get what I'm saying? And now with the second apron, you can't have 3 stars. You need 2 stars, and you need to fill in with a bunch of players.
Explain that second apron for everybody.
This is going to take too long. But the second apron, basically, if you get to the second apron, it's very hard to allocate contracts. So you'd have to go 1-for-1 contracts. So like, let's say I'm making 50 mil instead of going 2 guys for 25 mil. It'd be just 1-for-1 trade. It has to be a 1-for-1 trade if you're in the second apron. So I think Denver's even a second apron team, so they couldn't do it. They would have to trade somewhere. They would have to get below the second apron. Then they would be able to allocate the contract. But I don't know. It's just food for thought kind of thing,
Interesting. But what do you think is the prime landing spot for Giannis? Like, if you had to pick a top 3, what would be the top 3 landing spots for Giannis based on
Spurs?
Thinking from Giannis' point of view.
Spurs.
Why?
Like, it's just Spurs. I have Victor Wembanyama. I have Darren Fox. Then Castle. I don't think they would trade Castle. I think they might have to trade Castle. But you have Devin Vassell, and then you give up you give up Calvin Johnson, Devin Vassell, maybe Castle. And you give up, I guess, the picks you have this year, plus the Atlanta pick. That'd be 2 picks. But if you win the sweepstake today, because the draft is today, boys, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, the draft.
So whoever wins the lottery today, it kind of changes the whole game. So like the Sixers, for example, they tanked because if they get 6 and above, they keep their pick. But if it's below 6, then it goes to the OKC Thunder. So there's a bunch of scenarios where it's like it's pretty big deal going on right now. The Spurs have the Atlanta pick and they have their pick. Who else is there? But yeah, I think it depends. Like if you're the 76ers and you get Flag, do you trade Flag and PG, to be honest?
Because then he could low-key carry your squad with the uncertainty around Joel Embiid's health.
Or do you trade Embiid and Flag? You get what I'm saying? Yeah. Where it's like there's so many scenarios that could happen. But yeah, we'll find out next time on Broken Play.